So 2012 arrived, as did the beginning of my second season of my Up From the Underground show on my YouTube channel. I was definitely going into this season with a lot of excitement and not as much doubt as I thought that I would have. And that was merely because of the fact that the pilot season was really the place where I was able to come into my own and really figure out what I was going to be as a creator for the time, especially considering the fact that this has already given me enough time to practice in regards to all the new skills that I learned on the editing for all of the videos. I didn't really look into making any changes in terms of the format. I was pretty much doing the exact same thing that I did when I had started doing it the year before. So I was editing on my own this time, so I was actually allowing my creativity to start flowing. I actually did have a little bit of fun this time in regards to changing the way that my intro and outro would be on the show. I also started to change the way that I spoke. I also started to figure out better ways to make my videos a little bit more simpler and a lot more blunt and to the point, because when I really take a look back at what I did during my first season, while I really did appreciate everything that I did in my first year, I definitely saw a lot of my imperfections, and the second year doing this really gave me the opportunity to figure out where I was lacking and really try to pick up the pace. But what was even more interesting was the fact that this was going to be the year that a lot of things were going to change for me outside of YouTube. I was definitely becoming a lot more social. I was connecting with a couple of people. I was even starting to think outside the box in regards to talking to these people outside of the creative rooms. And outside of that, I was really trying to figure out what I was going to be rather than just being a YouTuber, because one of the few things that I knew for a solid fact was I wasn't going to make this my full-time job. Never really thought that I was going to be a massive internet sensation, even though at this point in time, YouTube had already been a seasoned platform and there were people that were actually making big names for themselves and actually earning money. This was also the point in time where I actually had gotten a decent amount of subscribers, and I was even starting to be a partner, and I was actually starting to get some of my videos monetized. And that was where I also wanted to be a little bit more creative in terms of making sure that everything that I did was going to be up to snuff with the YouTube regulations. But at that time, I was enjoying myself a great deal, but I wasn't really feeling entirely happy. It was also just because of the fact that I was trying to still discover myself as a person. I really believed that I had hit a wall in terms of where I was in regards to my life. I was still single, I was still not making that much money, and I was still living with my parents. But it wasn't until the end of 2012 when not only was I very excited about what 2013 was going to be in store for me, but it was also because of the fact that there were some big things that had happened on my channel that year. One of them in particular really started to increase my subscriber base, but there was a certain event that took place towards the end of 2012 that really changed my entire perspective on life, and it was the fact that I actually had met somebody, and she actually ended up being my future wife. We connected, we were very much appreciative of one another, and the first thing that I mentioned to her in regards to some of the interesting things about my life before we even went out on our first date was that I did actually have a YouTube channel, and my big concern were what were her thoughts going to be in regards to the fact that I did this as a hobby, and she said that actually sounds pretty cool. Also at that time, I was doing another YouTube project with two of my very good friends. One of them was the person who helped me get my YouTube career started, and we basically did a week show in regards to the sport of football, where we would just talk with each other, throw out a couple of jokes here and there, and give our own personal opinions on the picks of the week and news that was taking place in the football season. And we were just having so much fun with that, and that was also one of the first things that my now wife was exposed to. She actually sat in on one of the recordings that my two friends and I were having, and there were points in time where she said that she actually had to leave the room, otherwise she was going to laugh and she would be heard. So when I also realized that things were going to be very serious with my now wife at that time, it only made me more excited for the direction that I wanted to take as a content creator, as well as what I wanted to do with my life. And 2013 really was a turning point for this YouTube career that I have right now in a very, very positive way. Hey, thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. If you're new here and want to see more of what my channel has to offer, please click on the link to my last video, or hit that subscribe button to be kept up to date with all of my uploads. Content of all sorts is posted here quite often, so trust me, you do not want to fall behind. I will see you in the comments, and actions speak louder than words.